I want to start by saying that multiculturalism can't start and stop, and it can't fail and succeed. It's complex, it's deep-rooted, it means different things to different people. Part of what it means is diversity. Unless we're all going to be made into clones, diversity and multiculturalism will naturally exist. I think Cameron is confused and he's irresponsible, linking multiculturalism to extremism and targeting Muslims specifically, plus making the speech at the same time that the EDL were marching in Luton is just fueling racism. He has a responsibility to promote harmony between different races, to eliminate race discrimination. Instead, he's doing the opposite. He talks about state multiculturalism. What is that? Does it exist? He says different cultures have been encouraged to live separate lives. Don't people of the same culture live separate lives? Is he saying there are no white middle-class family members that have moved to different parts of the country, live by themselves and don't mix with other family members? What about the class of Oxbridge? Don't they have their own cultural habits? I've not seen many Oxbridge-educated people hanging out in pubs and cafes in East London, where I live. Are they encouraging extremism amongst the white middle class, therefore, or upper class population as a result? People have freedom of choice and a right to privacy in their family life. It's clear, though, that Cameron is only interested in the multiculturalism of certain people in the UK. His comments are clearly targeted at black and minority ethnic people, particularly Muslim people, and his comments are therefore racist. He says there's been a failure to provide a society to which we feel we belong. Has he asked himself why that is? If any of us don't feel we belong, it's because of the way we've been mistreated, not because we embrace our cultural traditions. It's because of oppression, it's because of poverty, discrimination, racism, sexism, being blocked from sections of the labour market and from certain educational institutions, not because of multiculturalism. He needs to take a look closer to home and see how the public sector cuts he's making will further isolate people when they're living in dire poverty, driven out of the communities they live in, left homeless and jobless, unable to study because they can't afford fees, increasing inequality in the labour market and society, and his condemned government are the ones failing to provide a society to which we belong. He talks about building a sense of national and local identity to create cohesion. I have a local and national identity, but I've also got an international, a historical, a cultural, a gender, a racial, and a class identity. Identity is complex, it's made up of many things. You can't exchange one for another. I believe that the more strands there are to my identity, the stronger and more confident it makes me. If you strip me of any part of my identity, I become a nobody. I couldn't be single-cultured if I wanted to. Identity, multiculturalism, and extremism are all different things, but Cameron seems confused and thinks they're all part of the same. I'm not happy that he's the leader of our government in the first place, but to have somebody confused and in power is really dangerous. Britain is not one country. It's made up of 4 countries, and centuries of invasion and more recently enslavement and empire mean that we're a fusion of all different things. To be British does not mean that you are one thing. Back in 2004, Trevor Phillips called for multiculturalism to be scrapped. It's ridiculous. Multiculturalism is not a government policy that you can stop and start and remove. What's next? Cloning all citizens? To end, there's no single definition of multiculturalism, but all the aspects that define it are what make us strong, make us vibrant, creative, innovative, both inspired and inspirational, confident and enriched. Multiculturalism promotes equality, unites people, brings understanding and allows individuals to live with dignity and pride. To take away my multiculturalism, Mr. Cameron would have to strike me dead. And even in death, my memory would live on through my embrace of multiculturalism while alive. I'm proud of where I came from, the traditions I embrace, and the life I live. And no politician can ever take that away from me. We need to stand up and defend multiculturalism and go forward united, unafraid and proud to be living in a multicultural society. And I'll end there, but I'm a poet and I've also been asked to perform a poem. And I've written it. You heard a letter to David Cameron. This is a poem to David Cameron.
He doesn't deserve it.
He needs to hear this one, yeah? I embrace my multiculturalism as I do my Afrocentrism, as I do my feminism and even my Englishism. I have African and European roots, but I'm a Londoner. I'm both Caribbean and an East Ender. My Sunday dinners include both roast potatoes and rice and peas. I can slip between BBC English, Cockney and patois with ease. I relax with jazz, dance to hip-hop, chill with lovers, but I love bebop. I can't be defined by a single entity. That's because I have a multiple identity. I'm not just multicultural, I'm also multiracial. I'm proud of my history and my roots. I dress, speak and communicate as it suits. You can't label me with just one word. To limit my multiculture would be absurd. The complexities of my multiple identities manifest in my eccentricities. They're wrapped up in my DNA, my blood, invasion, freedom, in empire, enslavement, in race, belief, religion, in class and gender, language and dialect, in skills and talent, knowledge and intellect. Add to this the food I eat, the music I adore, the traditions I embrace, the passions I live for. If I am multicultured as I alone stand, I'm afraid, Mr. Prime Minister, I don't understand how you expect a whole population collectively to be single-cultured and have just one identity, and how you can believe multiculturalism's dead when I am a living legacy of its success. It's deep-rooted, sometimes understated, always there but never overrated. It's in the way we sing and the way we talk. It's in the way we dance and the way we walk. Multiculturalism cannot fail to succeed. It's not in the gift of a politician to proceed with its termination. It's not your creation. It's in our blood and in our bones. You can't create multicultural free zones. It's on our airwaves and in our streets, in our attire and rhythm and beats. It's in street food and haute cuisine. It's even in Her Majesty the Queen. It's in our theatre and in literature, in places of worship and holy scripture. It's celebration, it's jubilation, it's pomp and glory, and it's our story. You can't erase what makes us who we are. It's not something you can permit or bar, and you can't take away what brings us together. Recognize, Mr. Prime Minister, multiculturalism's here forever. Thank you.
This is a poem called The Clash. The haves, the have-nots, the haves but will not, the woulds but could not, the coulds but would not, the haves but think not, the thinks but ask not, the asks but know not, the knows but care not, the tongue that speaks lots, but voice that's heard not, the tongue that's heard lots, but speech that tells not. The tongue that speaks lot, but voice that's heard not, the tongue that's heard lots, but speech that tells not, apparent standoffs between us and rest of, the world that thinks not, in terms that suit us, the lies we spread lots of foreign despots that wish to kill us, so must be killed off. The heads that bow not, the hands that shake not, when holding slingshots, when facing gunshots. The view that's changed not from colonial plots, civilizing dark flocks to get what they have got. The books that teach not, each phrase anew not, claim cultures move not and stand as fixed blocks, and there's books that flow past borders and won't stop, make ours what once was, people we knew not. A choice we've all got, be held or hold off, embrace what's known not, knowing we know not, or claim we share not, and so we grow not. What's different, trust not, so let it be not. The haves, the have-nots, the haves but will not, the ones that call shots, the ones that get shot. That is the only clash of civilizations I know.